Welcome, guys, to ILWPOD. I'm your host, as always, Justin Wright. And today we are welcome here with Dante Darko. How are you doing, man?
Yeah. Let them know. I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you today?
Great. Excited. Like I told you off camera, I've had
Yes,
your,
sir.
your tag partner on here,
Mm,
Neji Ichiban. I'm so excited to get you on here. It's
appreciate you,
just,
man. I appreciate the time. I appreciate the platform, all
of
that.
course. I also want to throw out special shout out to the WWA4. You guys have given me a good 50% of all the content interview wise that's been on my channel, and I appreciate you guys so
If
much.
there's anything about the A4, and this is on in any context, the A4, we're team players. You need a podcast, we're there to fill it. You need a ring set up, we're there to set it up. You need a ring wrestled in, we're there to wrestle in it. We're all over the place.
It seems like Fox he's got a good group of guys down there, and you all are very giving to this business that's not always giving back. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, like Fox has trained everybody to be what from what I've seen, like I started with Fox about I want to say we're coming up on 4 years. It'll be 4 years in February, last weekend of February it'll be. But he makes such an effort to not only train people correctly in ring, but such an effort to make sure we conduct ourselves in as much of a professional manner as possible. And to instill that in us very early on, like I get up with some of the newer guys. I'm not particularly at the school as often now. I have life happening. I have bookings elsewhere. We've grown and flown the nest at this point. But I'll see some of the new guys and I'll see the little things that they do, and it's the little things that you pick up through the journey where it's like, okay, they're thinking correctly, or maybe this person needs to get it together a little more. Maybe that hasn't quite gotten to them yet, where they have to, have the light switch turn on in their head, and there's certain things you have to do, there's certain ways you have to conduct yourself, all that stuff. But under Fox's tutelage, there is no better, in my opinion. Like Fox is the best trainer, like pound for pound, best trainer in the business, and that's because he will teach you so much outside of the ring with his outside of the ring experience, some of the stuff that goes with the in ring experience as well. Like he's a fountain of knowledge.
Definitely, definitely. Somebody that is on the bucket list of performers I'd love to have on here for sure.
Oh, absolutely get him. He has so much history to go down.
Knowledge. It's the knowledge that
Yeah.
I just love. I'll soak it in all day.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get too deep into conversation, would you like to plug any of your social medias, possible upcoming events, merchandise, stuff like that?
Um, Honestly, I'm gonna shout out my boy Neji's merch. You buy Neji's merch. If you see any Neji Ichiban shirts, he just made these shirts not too long ago. He's trying to get them off the ground. We're selling them here and there. But if you see us at a local show, Neji most likely has shirts. Buy Neji shirts. I will have shirts available pretty soon. Working on finalizing a design for myself and what I want to use. For some reason, when it's very in house and it's like your own, that's when it's like, dang, I don't know what's good, but we're getting there. I actually have like stuff in the works for early January. So buy Neji's merch. And as far as I go, the Darko Pro on everything. That's me. You see that tag anywhere. I am the one and true Darko in this business. If anyone else is a Darko, that's cool. I'm the real Darko. I'm the only Darko.
Got you. Got you. Respect it.
And of course,
Um,
hold on, quick shout out to the
yep.
A4. Shout out to the top team boys. Love them all. It's a giant rap sheet to go down, but you'll see us when you see us. Teriyaki, J. Lucas, Keelan Cole, the Offside Heroes, the whole rap sheet. Shout out to A4. Shout out Rico. Shout out Big Ronnie Bass. Shout out the boys. They know who they are.
Of course, you got to get them all in there.
Mm.
Um, I always start plain, like simple, easy. We all have stories from when we fell in love with wrestling, from when we found it. When did you first come across professional wrestling?
I was a very early bloomer. I found wrestling when I was about I was actually just having this conversation with my girlfriend yesterday. I found wrestling when I was about 5, and I had to really sit down and think about it. Like, what's my earliest memory? And um, yeah, around the age of 5 or 6, around the time basically when I can start remembering full term, like long term,
Yeah,
is really where I started getting into wrestling. Ruthless aggression was my like that's me. I'm a ruthless aggression kid.
me too. I
The
can,
golden era, in my opinion.
I think, if I have to go off the top of my head, my first like real like memory would be like I think I was playing with my like Stone Cold figure and somebody else, and Austin was on TV. He said he's gonna give somebody a can of whoop ass, and
Yeah.
as a kid, I repeated it, and my dad
Oh
was like, "What'd you
no.
say?" And my first memory, physical memory, is yes, me getting yelled at for saying I'm gonna open whoop ass because Austin said it.
You got to
um,
be a fan for life after that. You got your ass whooped
exactly,
for it.
exactly.
You got to be
I
a
got
fan now.
the whoop ass was opened on me.
Hmm.
But no, it's always been there, definitely. Like you said, it's just been something I'd say is a constant. Um, when was your first like live experience? Do you remember?
Yeah, my oh wow. So my first live show I ever been to was um a Jersey All Pro show that happened in 2007, where I was I moved from New Jersey to Georgia when I was 10, so it had to be around 8, 7, around that time. And I didn't know what I was experiencing at the time. I had been a wrestling fan. I had watched all the wrestling, but I had never been to a live show. Not only had I never been to a live show, I've never been to an indie live show. Um, and by this point, I was starting to rumblings of like TNA were kind of going in and out when I was really young. I was hearing about it. I heard about AJ Styles and I kept hearing about AJ Styles. And even as a youngin, like I was really tapped into the internet scene of what was going on. I was on little message boards, I was on little pages, like reading roster pages and all that. And I would see rumblings of like NWA TNA starting, or not starting, but like had started, and around the time where they were in what would be considered like the golden era that everyone regards with TNA, around the years of like 2005 to 2008, 9. That's around the time I found out about them. And at this Jersey All Pro show, I had met Jay Lethal, I had met Sanjay Dutt, I had met Homicide, I had met, and these are before. It's crazy how it all comes to, because like I didn't know how big of a star they were even then, let alone now that I'm all grown up and I hear about these guys. Or if I'm like, oh, Homicide's going to be at a show and I see Homicide, I'm marking out, I'm freaking out. But as a kid, I got autographs and I'm like, oh, I'm just getting the autographs of the wrestlers. I don't know who y'all really are like that.
Yeah.
Crime Time was there. Crime Time
Oh,
was there.
I love it.
And Crime Time was just there. They were doing a meet and greet. But that was the sole reason me and my buddy had went, because we heard about Crime Time, and in hearing about WWE talent coming to a local indie, we met, we found out about all the other local indie stars. I saw Loki that night. I saw Eddie Kingston that night. Didn't know who any of these people were.
Badass.
Yeah, it was great. That was my first ever like experience into a live show. And after that was I went to a TNA show at Orlando for middle school
Ooh.
graduation.
So, like, we're talking the impact zone.
Yeah, dude, the pit,
That's amazing.
I
That's
there is a
amazing.
if you I've always told, this is my little tout. If you look up Homicide cashing in the Feast or Fired case on Suicide for the X Division title, I'm front dead center in hard cam. A little me in a blue shirt. It
I'll have to
is
find it.
insane. It is insane because I've looked back and I'm like, holy, that's me. That's me.
That's crazy.
It's
That's like
insane.
going to the ECW arena in '97. Like
Yeah.
going to the impact zone in the heat. It's amazing.
Yeah, it was fantastic. That was a great time. That was such a good time in wrestling.
I went to one TNA show. It was in the Hogan era, but I got
Ooh.
to meet Kurt Angle,
Oh, that's
which was
so
great.
sick.
My dad bought a VIP pass, and like somewhere in intermission, they decided that they wasn't doing the like they did the VIP thing, but they wasn't going to continue doing it. And
Mm.
my dad threw a fuss. Thank God for him.
That's
But
how
I
you
got
do
to
it.
meet. He went up to Earl Hebner actually and pulled Earl aside and gave Earl the guilt trip. And I got to meet Jeff Jarrett,
Wow.
the Machine Guns,
Wow.
um,
Oh man, this is like a
and
murderer's
I think
row.
I think Styles. I think I met Styles too that night.
That's crazy.
What's funnier is like literally like 45 minutes after this, Beer Money's coming out for their entrance, and we're in West Virginia,
Mm.
because it's where I was from. I moved away, but that's where I was then. And like the crowd there is just so hot, and they're like talking all kinds of trash to James Storm because he's just from Tennessee, like
Mm.
he's right up the way.
Yeah.
And my dad's girlfriend at the time said something to Bobby Roode, and my dad got up and made them literally want to fight him. Like they were ready to jump the. It was, I'll never forget it, but it was just one of those experiences that is crazy. TNA is wild.
Oh, TNA is great. There was a YouTube video. My girlfriend is such a blessing because I make her sit through these like just history videos of wrestling promotions because she's a new fan. So
Okay.
she didn't watch wrestling till she met me. And I tell her often, like, there is just so much you need to know about because the things you're watching now have meaning. And the reason, like, I don't want you to see if Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles were to happen tomorrow. I don't want you to be like, why are grown men crying?
Yes.
Why, you know what I'm saying? And I
Yes,
have to now
100%.
I have to tell you who AJ is and who Joe is, but she sits through all these things, and we were just watching a history of TNA video, and TNA has always been there, and I'm so happy for TNA. That's if I can work TNA one day, that's like a big check off the list, not a small one. That is a large milestone in my career.
Just somewhere you'd like to at least go through.
Oh, absolutely. Like if I can, long term, short term, that is just something where in my opinion, and this is not obviously fact definite, anything like that, but every wrestler should strive for the mountaintop. Every wrestler should go for their highest peak. And to me personally, the highest peak is winning the WWE championship at WrestleMania in the main event. That's when you've done that in
It's the
wrestling,
pinnacle.
you know what I'm saying? Like, what else can you do?
What are you here for if that's not
What
your
are you,
goal?
you're doing side quests after this, but on the way, there are so many things to do. Like wrestle. My personal long term goal, where I would love to find myself, is I would love to find myself signing a 5 year long term deal in Japan. Just kind of rocking out there, learning the culture, learning the style of wrestling out there, gaining as much knowledge as I can from out there, and also, and that really goes for like any promotion in Japan too. Noah, All Japan, New Japan, all of them. I just want to be out there and then kind of embark on the culture and learn about the culture firsthand. And but TNA, like if we're talking about the states, TNA and Ring of Honor, those are the two. Those are the two that I will forever be chasing. And I don't know when it's gonna happen. I know it's going to happen. I don't know when it's gonna happen. But those are the two where I'm like, okay, big check number one. Big check number two, go to Japan. Big check number three. Now we're at the peak. Now we're like, okay, gotta figure out a way into the big boy school, into the big boy promotion. Gotta find my way into a credible scene. Gotta find my way into the main event scene. Gotta find my way into the title scene. Like, it's a lot of work, but that's what I'm here for. That's what all wrestlers I feel like should be here for.
I like the goals and the aspirations and the fact that you already see yourself there because you can tell just from what you're saying that it's like
I
you said a
want it
matter
too
of time.
much, man. I want it too much. I feel like I feel like it's different for everybody, and every wrestler does have their certain goals. Some people are okay with just doing indies, and I give so much credit and love to those people who are just like, I just want to be I have personal friends where they tell me like, well, I'm a wrestler just to give my kids someone to look up to. And, like I've had, I've seen it firsthand where like dads get to have birthday matches with their kids, and like, it's just
I've
so their
seen it.
kid, it's really, it really warms my heart to know that wrestling can be there for everybody in any form. For some people though, it is just zeroed in on climbing that mountain and climbing all the way to the top with no, because there is like no, to me, there's no way around it. In wrestling, we're all striving for success and we're all striving for, that next step in our careers. And if you're striving for that next step, it's going to have to take you up that mountain. And the farther you go up that mountain, it's just going to get harder, but the stages get bigger.
Definitely. Um, with that said, with the TNA goal in mind,
Mm.
if there's anybody on that roster right now that you could take on, who would it be?
Oh, Mike Bailey, easily.
I knew it. Something told me.
Mike
I was like,
Bailey.
he's gonna say Speedball.
We as a school had the opportunity to have Speedball Mike Bailey and some of his students come through the door. And we had open matches, well, not open matches, but we had some kind of scheduled matches for that night with Mike Bailey's students and AR Fox's students.
Okay.
And I got to meet Mike Bailey that night, and I found out that this man is literally the nicest man I've ever met. He is the greatest person I've ever met, from his content online to like talking to him in person to the advice he gives. He is so zeroed in on everything. And I've always said like Mike Bailey's like a wrestling like guru, like not a savant, not a technician. He is a guru. He has figured out, like, the meme, like, I understand it now.
Yeah.
Like, that's him. He
Okay.
understands it, and he understands it at a very deep emotional, psychological level. And that's where, like, I always feel like if you go through Mike Bailey at any point in your career, from doing this for 10, 20 years to doing this for 5 years, you are going to walk away with something. He's going to teach you something. He's going to show you something where a light switch is going to go off in your head.
Yeah.
He's too good. Too good.
And it's something you can tell in the ring. How he works in the ring, you can tell he knows this business inside and out.
Yeah, it's insane. You remember the Osprey match?
Yes. Yes.
Oh man, I've watched that match
Crazy.
so many times. It's great.
I think who was it? I think it was it wasn't in TNA, but it was him and Josh Alexander.
Hmm.
And Josh Alexander, somebody else that like I think doesn't get enough in ring credit,
So
but
good.
they tore it down. And like I remember I made it was on my old YouTube channel. It got taken down, but I made like it was one of the first videos I made a highlight package of because it was so good.
Nice.
Um, but it got copyrighted, but it was so good. And I was like, this is something that everybody needs to see.
Yeah,
But Bailey is incredible. Another one of those guys that I'd say is a bucket list. I'd love to have Mike Bailey on here.
for
Just
sure. It's both of our bucket list, pal. Well, we're both looking for that one.
um, getting back to you though.
Mm.
Growing up, yeah, keeping an eye on the business. Were there ever any other like plan Bs? Were you ever another sports kid where you tried out for, basketball, soccer, something like that? And thought maybe?
Um, I played sports growing up. I
Okay.
did about 6 years of football, like kind of little league into high school. Um, I did a little bit of baseball. I was a swimmer. That's like a little hidden. My little hidden talent is I'm a pretty
Okay.
decent swimmer. But there was never a plan B, but wrestling also never felt like a plan A. I
Okay.
never sat down and told myself like I want to become a wrestler. When I was a kid, I used to always get on friends' trampolines and we were doing wrestling moves on trampolines. And I would go to indies every now and then and see it, but I never really thought to myself, like, this is something I want to do. This is something I want to learn about. None of that. And then COVID hit. COVID hit, and those relief checks came in, and I got enough money to train. And at the time, I was backyarding with another wrestler now. His name is Troy Carter. We were backyarding in Rome, Georgia, in the
Okay.
middle of nowhere. And I just kind of looked at him one day and I was like, look, man, I got this money. You got enough money. Are we going to do it? Are we going to take this leap? Are we going to take this jump? We had some odd emotional ties to the place we were backyarding at. Like, we both knew that this is just some kind of backyard thing that's kind of thrown together. It's not really organized, but we did have friends there. So we had to kind of make the decision. Do we want to jump, get really trained, do something with this? Um, we agreed and we were like, all right, let's do it then. And we both got into the business and the rest is history. And now in the business, uh, it's just so much to learn, so much to grow upon. Uh, Bobby Flacco, y'all know who Bobby Flacco is, I'm sure
Yeah.
at this point, I hope. But um, Bobby, we were having a conversation in our collective like school chat, and Bobby Flacco had talked about just kind of you have to put yourself in the position to want to learn, to want to grow. You have to learn a little bit of everything. You don't have to know a lot of anything, but you do need to know a little bit of everything. And that's just so you can be seen as an asset so you can grow in this business. One of my wrestling ended up being the plan A. Just kind of sporadically happened out of nowhere, really. I got trained and now I love the business. But um, plan B for me personally, and this is just also because I love the business, is growing into like a production side. That would be my plan B, growing into a production side of I'm currently making graphics for some local indies around Georgia. I'm currently I edit videos for highlight videos for promos for whatever, if anyone needs my help or if I do it for myself. Um, I would just kind of like to go down that road and make money in the business without having to bump. That's basically what I've always told my buddy is like, if I can, you know, production, agent matches, even so much as like gear design. Like I have a graphic designing background, so I used to do gear designing back in the day, back when I wasn't wrestling for other wrestlers. So I would go upon that some kind of production rule somewhere behind the scenes where I could still be involved in wrestling and make some money without having to get hurt. That's the best thing I can get out of it.
Okay. So when did you, okay, where did you first go to start training? Was it at the A4?
Hmm.
Okay, so how'd you come across the A4?
Well, in 2019, before COVID, me and my buddy Troy, we had gone to the four for like shows and just inquiring about training. Bobby Flacco is actually the ones that the man we inquired about the four. We
Okay.
talked about like how do we get in, how do we talk to Fox? How do we do this? How do we do that? He said just show up on a Thursday where they had their shows. And we were like, okay, we showed up on a Thursday, caught up with Fox afterwards, told him we were thinking about joining next week. The process was really easy, honestly.
Okay. What was that first interaction with Fox?
Oh, it was intimidating a little bit
Okay.
because I had at this point, still like at this point in my career, I started in 2021, um, and I was 23. So even at 23, I'm a grown man. I'm looking at Fox and just kind of taken back to when I was like 14. And I'm looking at Fox for the first time on CZW or watching Fox in Evolve when in 2016 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was really intimidated. It was not more so like scared intimidated. It was kind of like a marble mouth kind of intimidated. Like I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to conduct myself in front of you. It took it was a long process to really kind of learn Fox as a person and let him uh not just him grow on me, but kind of let each other grow on each other, you know? Like
Yeah.
some people have an easier relationship with Fox, some people have a harder relationship with Fox where it's just kind of hard to crack that egg sometimes. I'm now fortunate enough to be in a space where I can say like I would not be where I am wrestling wise, wrestling brain wise, in ring, none of that. I would not be here without Era Fox. I owe my career to that man. And it was for me, it was a little bit of a hard egg to crack because I myself wasn't understanding wrestling. Like I had just done a bunch of moves in a backyard fed, you know. I didn't really understand what a good match takes, what the presentation of a wrestler is, how to, like how to just be cool and
Yeah.
how to be a good wrestler. And that's on, and I know now, like coming all this way and seeing all the new guys come in, and some of them are stuttering the same way I was stuttering in the very beginning. It's like I see it now, and I'm like, you'll be fine. Just listen to Fox, let him grow on you, absorb everything you can from him, and then just take that knowledge and go forward with it. He's one of the best brains you can pick in this business. So try to crack that egg early and try to get on his good side early. Try to just listen to him. That's all you got to do. You want to get on his good side, just listen to him.
I could say on this side of the camera, it goes the same way, whether it's with Fox or whether it's with anybody. Like listening goes a long way,
Yeah,
especially because I started this and I still am a fan and I've only done it for a couple months now, but like learning to talk to you guys, it gets easier with time. And like
right.
first couple are definitely intimidating because you're like, especially my first couple were with guys I watched as a kid in indie shows like Madman Pondo or Too Tough Tony. Like these are guys
Mm,
that are well traveled, they're legends. So like I
right,
don't want to say the wrong thing. So there is that intimidation factor.
right.
Um, how or not how, but does that feeling ever go away? Like, do you ever go like I think you was just at a GCW show. There's
Hmm.
obviously a lot of um
I
guys
will, I
up
will
there.
admit, in the face, oh, sometimes, man, in the face of certain people, it's hard to make it go away.
Yeah.
But through just going through the business, and honestly, like if you really look at it on a personal level, past the business level, you kind of want to do it for yourself, like
Yes.
coming forward all these years now. At first I was like, holy crap, I'm talking to AR Fox. I'm terrified. I don't know what to say. Now going forward, it's like, yo, I got trained under AR Fox. I know AR Fox. I pet AR Fox's dog every time I go into the four. I know this dog personally. Like it's such a blessing to know AR Fox on such a personal level, and then taking that forward, like uh I saw Jeff Hardy at GCW Detroit last year, or no, it was earlier this year.
That's
I
badass.
was it, but I don't know. But I took a picture with him in the middle of like people are funneling out, people are funneling in, security's trying to stop people. Jeff Hardy just got into the building and he barely got into the building because people saw him outside. So I was like, okay, this is a real make or break moment for me. I don't know the next time I'm gonna see Jeff Hardy. I
100%.
grew up, Jeff Hardy is top three for me. So I'm like, okay, do I swoop in there? Am
100%.
I scared right now? A little bit. But screw it. Went in there, took a picture with Jeff Hardy, told him he didn't have any time. He had to get to the back in the where he had to be for the show and all that. He had no time. And I was like, can I just please get a picture with you? You're a massive inspiration in my career. Took the picture, told him I'm from the four in Atlanta. That was pretty much the whole conversation. I'm in the four in Atlanta. Hey, that's cool, man. And then he just, it was
It's
he's
crazy.
like a wizard. Like he just kind of went off into this crowd. I said, "Oh my god, I just met Jeff Hardy." I got back to the car. I was riding back with a group of Atlanta guys, and they all had known how busy he was. And I get back to the car, I'm like, "Y'all are not gonna believe what I just did." I just took a picture with Jeff, and they're like, "There's no way." I showed them the picture, like, "Oh my God, he actually did it." I'm like, "Look, I don't care who has problems with me. I don't care who has problems. I took a picture with him here. I'm not gonna post it till after the show, WWA4, but this was a personal win for me." So in the
100%.
face, and this goes down to like anybody, you, me, got to do it for yourself. Do it for yourself. Do it for the memory. You have to get you when you're in the face of your goats and you're like, okay, this is the guy. Ask the question. When you're second guessing yourself, ask the question.
Okay. I'll take that advice because
Yeah.
I almost didn't. Recently there was a show here in Chicago. Matt Riddle was there,
Mm,
and like he's doing a meet and greet, and like it's one of those, hey, I ain't got the money to pay for a meet and greet, really.
mm.
And my dad was like, kid, get up there and just go talk to him, hand him a
Yeah.
card, say hi. Like even if he says no, and sure enough, I did, and then he suckered
Mm.
me into buying something anyway. But I was like, it's just for I need the picture, man, and the memory.
Yeah.
Josh Alexander was there. I wish I'd have got a picture. Now that I think about it, but I got to shake his hand, say,
That's
"Hey, I
cool.
appreciate you." And like those are the moments that are just fun. That like,
Those are the moments. That's the reason why I feel like we all do this, from a fan side to a wrestler side to all that. I know me personally, like I very much treasure and value my fan interactions, my idol interactions, like this is what I feel like all of it is about, because one day we're all gonna be old.
yep.
We're only thing we're gonna have to look at all besides our, future once we're all old is our past. And we gotta I want to be like a rock star. I want to tell my grandkids, like, yo,
Hey, look
grandpa
at
was
me
dope.
on WrestleMania 35 or
Yeah,
45 or
40,
whatever.
whatever. I just want to show them, like, yo, you
I did
can
it.
do something. Yeah, I did it. And if I can do it, you can do it. That's my whole existence in wrestling is that I'm really trying to uh, do it for myself, but do it for everybody else in a way because, like, my immediate circle, my, fans, anybody, I'm just trying to show people, like, I was a regular guy. I was just a wrestling fan, just like a lot of us. And most wrestlers you find out are, I'm sure with all the
Yes.
podcasts, you
Yeah.
exactly like we all just started as wrestling fans. Most of us.
It's why I do this is because I don't know. I wanted to wrestle. I'm not. It's not something that's plausible right now. So this
That's
is this is
perfectly
the
fine.
this is the end. Like, and I just love it. And like I tell people like around me all the time, like hopefully one of these does freaking 250,000 views. But if they don't, and I just got to talk to you, I
Right.
I I'm achieved because
That's a
I've
win
got
right
the.
there.
It's a win in my column. Um,
Absolutely.
my dad explained it as like some people collect, action figures or DVDs. I collect interviews with some of wrestling's best talent.
Absolutely. And
And
that's the perfect way to look at it.
I was
For
like that
real.
I can't even argue with that. So
You
like
can't. That's like
I
literally what is happening. I was
was like
looking down
it's
the archive
amazing.
on YouTube and I'm like, yo, he's banged out a good bit already.
There's and a lot of these guys are just now starting and
Hmm.
where they can go is endless. And then there's guys like I said like Pondo or Sabu or Alex Kane who's been somewhere, done
Hmm.
something, and some still got a lot to give. Others are just here, reminiscing, but
Hmm.
it's great nonetheless.
Yeah, you got a nice little coverage on the board. I saw you had my boy Rockstar on recently. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's
Shout out
great. Can't
Rockstar.
wait to have him on there again.
He's the homie.
Um,
He's the bro. He's very much the little brother of the school that everyone
okay,
is always prodding at, and but we all love him. That's the homie.
I think he got the most like social media like buzz around him. Like as soon as everybody saw it, everybody liked it, everybody shared it. I was like, I just love seeing that, especially for him. Like
Hmm.
the love that other people show is something else that I take a lot of pride in doing. Like,
Hmm.
especially in this, is like whenever one of these releases and to see everybody have such a positive response for him, I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, I feel like in some way I was able to help.
Absolutely, 100%. That's why I was saying
Um,
earlier, like the platform is important. A lot of us as indie wrestlers and upcoming wrestlers need every single platform to be seen. That's what I tell a lot of the newer people is just like be seen. Just be seen as much as possible. Shout out Rockstar for being good at social media.
Definitely, definitely. Um, Getting back into some career stuff.
Mhm.
How long was your like actual training for Fox? Like at the four, would you say?
I made my in-ring debut about 6 months after I started, around 6, 7 months.
Okay.
Um, Definitely should have been kept on the back burner a lot more. Now, in hindsight, hindsight is 2020, and I could have done a lot better back then if I would have just kind of kept myself on the back burner a little longer and kept my nose to the grindstone a little more. But yeah, about 6 months in, Fox, he kind of just wanted to see if it'll work out, really. He put me with Takuri, another one of the A4 students, um, one of the more tenured students, and just kind of gave us a match, let me have my first match in front of a crowd. I had been having practice matches leading up to this, but gave me that opportunity 6 months in, and yeah, that was really it.
What would you now tell you then in response to that match?
Slow down, shut up, listen, and in the nicest way, toughen up. Stop,
Okay.
like just be ready for everything. Be ready for the lack of a net. Be ready for all the running. Be ready for the people to be cheering or booing. Just kind
Yeah.
of get in that mindset of be more ready. Nowadays, as a wrestler now, one of my biggest proponents is proper preparation prevents poor performance. If you can prepare yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, visually, whatever you need to do. You often hear about wrestlers doing their pre-match rituals, and every single wrestler has their own little pre-match ritual. And if that's what you need to get that zero in focus and prepare yourself for what is going to happen, it's almost like in the oddest way, like letting go of everything, realizing that it. So again, to circle back to Mike Bailey, something that he said in a podcast was when he gets to that mindset of like, all right, we have I have stretched today, I have eaten, I have done every single thing, called the match, thought of the match, used my brain, figured out what moves I'm gonna do, all that. There's nothing more you can do. And at that point you just let everything go. You go out there and you do it. And once you kind of get into that headspace, it just becomes fun. It becomes an adrenaline rush. It becomes fun. It becomes emotional. It becomes all those things all in one. But you have to. That's to give you an underlined bold point. What I would have told myself: let go of fear very early on. That would overarch kind of everything I just said. Let go of fear. Let go of all of that. It's all
I
there.
think that's something that could go with anything. I mean, we was talking about like talking to people in the business.
Mm-hmm.
I that goes like 'cause me as a fan still has that fear of whatever it is going up to whoever and they say no, I don't want to do that. You're not big enough or whatever the fears are. I
Yeah.
guess letting go of the fear is probably the biggest thing in life.
You gotta just
Probably.
jump. Yeah, honestly, you gotta just jump into certain things. Like that's you can gradually make your way to the deep end of the pool and go through all these different levels of the deep end, or you can just kind of jump in and figure out if you're even supposed to be here. And if you're not supposed to be here, that's okay. You
Yeah.
can go back to your side. No one is. This is a wrestling, especially in wrestling. This is a judgment free zone. We try to. Wrestling is one of the most entry level things that people can do, and that's what I've often said. It's one of the hardest things a person can do, but it's so easy to do. All you got to do, you throw down some money at a wrestling school, go through a few months, boom, you're a wrestler now. Now it's like, are you going to become a good wrestler? Are you
Yeah.
become a great wrestler? Now you're a wrestler. So you do with this now what you do, but the only way you're going to get there is if you shut out the fear of even trying. Once you get over the fear of trying, you have to get to the fear of doing. Once you get to the fear of doing, you have to get to the fear of excelling. Once you get, like it's all gonna always be daunting to everybody at every step of the way. So you just kind of have to, something my brother told me, he's like, sometimes you just have to grit your teeth and let it go, just start swinging in there with life. Just
Definitely.
head down, grit your teeth and just go a little. And then sometimes life will get the best of you, knock you right down. Sometimes you get up, fight right back. And that's all it is. Just get over the fear of it. That's what I would have told my younger self. Get over the fear of it all. Stop being a wuss. Get up. Start running more.
I like it. Um, Talking about being a wrestler, becoming a wrestler, you mentioned how easy it is. Um, Easy might be the wrong word, but you get what I'm trying to say.
Right.
With that said, how easy was it to come up with Dante Darko as the persona?
Um, the persona was kind of there the whole time. I'm very much a person that tries to pull from just me, try to naturally be me,
Okay.
in that ring, try to turn me up a little. The name Darko, when I was in high school, I had friends that would call me Donnie from Dante, and we watched Donnie Darko as a group, and they were like, "Oh, Donnie Darko," and that's where the Darko came in. My shoot real name is Dante, and that's how that happened. And the character is really just me. I'm small and I'm scrappy, and I like to fight a little,
Okay.
just a little
So,
bit.
how did you get into how did you get into Top Team?
Oh wow. I am, I'm gonna just go flat out and say this because I feel like other members of Top Team would attest to this, but I'm actually the brainchild behind the Top Team.
Okay.
I was the one who, well, it started as just a conglomeration of friends, as most, things do, the clique, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and we started working more and more with each other. We were always facing each other in the beginning, before any of us were teaming with each other. The only top team members that came in without a fight under the belt before top team was created was the Offside Heroes, and that's because they are a tag team. But we went out to Florida for a show called All the Way Up, presented by WWN at the time. It was for WWN, and yeah, it was out there where we all hung out one night. We all found ourselves in like a hotel room, the same hotel rooms, the same places, and we kind of established the top team there. We did play around with a few names, um, but we figured out that like simple, easy top team, like American top team, British top team, whatever. We're the top team. Top team of what? Top team of everything. Top team of anywhere. Top team in any promotion. Top team on any roster. We're the
I like
conglomeration
it.
of the top.
I like it.
And that's kind
Um,
of, I had to tell all the boys, like, just go with it. It's kind of cool. And then
it
it just kind
is
of grew
when you
upon
don't
us.
overthink about it, it works. It's
Hmm.
simple.
It's simple. Alliteration is key. Top team, come on now.
It's
Alliteration is
very
key.
marketable too. It's like very easy to throw you on a card and like it sticks. Like especially like I mean, you look at a card, it's simple, but putting top in front of your team name makes
Hmm.
everybody are these really the top guys? Like it puts you on a spotlight
Hmm.
immediately.
Precisely.
Was that something that like creating the name went through your head?
I really just looked around at who was around me at the time. The original group of top team before we started adding members was me, Teriyaki, Jay Lucas, and Blackjack Matt.
Okay.
And after that point, we really kept it tight in house. Like we said, we're gonna be like four horsemen, all that stuff. And then that's when we encountered Mr. Danger. Well, we added in the heroes because the heroes and Yaki were teaming very often, and We kind of just got them in there, and then the first real batch we added was Neji Ichiban, Mr. Danger, and Keelan Cole.
Okay.
Those were the first three people where we regarded them as like the young blood of top team. They were hanging around us a lot. We were some of the first people they really talked to and encountered when they came into the school. Keelan Cole was very quiet early on in the school, which is a good thing. He just shut up and listened, but he was very quiet, and he started opening up to us and becoming our friend. And um, lo and behold, now we're a roster of 10 members, just deep, and
And
had to be the best people. That was the only requirement. You had to get like we had to take votes.
okay, is my bad. Can you name all the members of top team? Not to
Me,
put you on the spot, but
yeah,
okay.
me, Blackjack Mac, Keelan Cole, Mr. Danger, Neji Ichiban, Teriyaki, Jay Lucas, the Knopfside Heroes, Renegade Enforcer. Renegade
And
Enforcer is currently the promoter of RIPW.
with those 10, is there a leader or are you all equal?
Ha! Some members in the group would argue, but I always say we don't have a leader. We move as a family. We're very much a family. We make family moves, family decisions. Um, we always make the joke that Teriyaki and Jay Lucas are our Iron Man and Captain America of the group. If we are the Avengers, they're the guys
Okay.
to look at. I feel like it's hard. I told Teriyaki early on, I was like, dude, you're like our unsung hero. Like, because anyone asks us who's the leader, we look at you. And then you're the one who tells us everyone there's no leader.
Okay.
I tell him it's like an AJ Styles and Bullet Club situation. No one said he was the leader, but come on.
They assumed like he's
Yeah,
the
you got to assume
de facto leader. Like
de
by
facto
default,
leader,
you are the guy we all
a
look to
good
and say,
leader,
"Hey."
a leader that knows he's the leader but won't say he is.
And a lot of times that's how it should be. You shouldn't have to. The head guy in the room shouldn't have to say,
He should
"I'm the
know,
head
and
guy in the room."
everyone
He
else
just
should
knows
know.
exactly.
Exactly. Terry's the guy, and Jay Lucas right behind him. They're a tag team that formed with the coming of top team. They didn't team before, and then with top team gave them the opportunity to mesh, and they found out the chemistry is just on par. So yeah, they're the two a leader A and leader B.
With that said, you brought up the Captain America, Iron Man kind of like um, reference.
Mm-hmm.
Could there ever be a civil war?
Oh man, just watch. And we're
Okay.
fighting each other all the time.
Okay.
So inevitably, somewhere, um, in RIPW right now in Atlanta, there's a lot of dissension going on between the Northside Heroes. There's a lot of dissension going on between Jay Lucas and Teriyaki, and me and Neji right now. We're kind of just we're gonna
There.
take a step back. Yeah, I mean we got other goals right now going on. We've been chasing these tag titles for about a year.
Okay.
Coming up on February will be the anniversary show of the very first show of RIPW, our 1 year anniversary. And we know that the tag champions, the Wealth, Randy Reno and Nathaniel Vanderbilt are going to be there. So we'll see what's going to happen. But as far as we're concerned, we're kind of just watching all of our friends fight right now. So we don't know what's kind of happening. But as far as the Civil War goes, I'm just going to say, like, I see the bombs in the distance. I
Because
hope nothing pops off.
I guess one more question before I want to get into the Dark Passion Assassins.
Okay.
But one more top team question regarding that Civil War. Let's say, in theory, we'll fantasy book for a second. There's
Okay.
a war games 5-on-5.
Oh,
Who's on each side?
this is a tough one. This is a really tough one because there's so many great ways to spin it. I'd say you need Jay and Terry leading both teams. So that's one on one right there, one on each side. In a perfect world, the heroes are really kind of torn up right now. In a perfect world, they're on the same team, but in the real world, they're on separate teams. So you got two
Okay.
heroes on each team. You have me and Neji with Jay Lucas on Jay Lucas' side. So let's say Jay Lucas' side is Jay Lucas, Jose Manuel, the Assassins, and we'll put Renegade Enforcer in there. And then on the other side, you have Teriyaki, Blackjack Mac, Mr. Danger, Keelan Cole, and who am I missing? Here's the problem with having so many. Oh, Shoot a Gabe, the other hero.
Okay. Who wins?
Ah, don't put that on me.
I had to.
The Jays team, Caps team.
Your team wins.
Yeah, they got the
I respect it.
Assassins.
I respect it. I respect it. And
That's
you
all
gotta
you need.
argue there with the assassins on that side. The only team or duo out of the whole top team to stay together, it just
That's
makes
what I'm
sense.
saying. Me and Neji are in the group chat. Like, what is going on? Everyone else
Okay.
just yelling at each other.
Speaking of Neji, the Dark Passion Assassins, when did you guys first meet and when did you decide, hey, let's team?
The history of me and Neji is the funniest history to ever come about in me personally. Around the time Neji came into the four, I took a hiatus from the four just because I was moving into my old apartment. Had to take some time off, make some money, work, you know. Um, Neji came into the school, and because I was gone, the top team guys, because Neji and I look so alike, I guess people think Neji and I look alike to some fashion, I
You
guess,
you
but
do.
we do, and we
You got more of a beard. Is the biggest
recognize
distinction.
that.
Yes.
Recognize that now because we keep getting it, and we just keep looking at each other in the face sometimes. We're just like, I can see it, but we don't want to
It's
admit
at a
it.
glance, at a glance.
You're
I
right.
100%.
But at Neji's first 6 months of being there before I came back were the homies messing around with him saying, "What up, Darko?" And they would always
Okay.
say, "What up, Darko? What up, Darko? What up?" And I had no idea who Neji was in this time period. They kept telling me, like, you have to meet Neji, you have to meet Neji. And then I finally meet Neji, and Neji's phenomenal. Like, he's a great wrestler. I can't get over his selling, his passion. Like, that whole passion thing is not a gimmick. Like,
Mind. His mind
yeah,
is crazy.
his mind is just really intricate and really detail oriented at times. And I love it so much because I always say, like, when it comes to us, like, I think he would even attest to this, but I'm the idea guy, and then he is the like efficiency guy. How to make
Okay.
my grandiose ideas actually work and how to make them actually play out in the ring and how we can execute. Um, he's a great tag partner, but um, at this point, he had came into the school. We had met. We weren't teaming early on. It's actually funny. We had a few months long feud.
I saw that going through your stories and your highlights.
Yeah, we
It was that time.
oh, that was a time. That was really a time because I was part of my not even old faction. I'm still with my brothers, Blackjack Mac and Slayer Leak. We're a part of VDA, and we tormented Neji for months. We threw Neji in the back of his own car in the trunk and drove off in a segment.
That's great.
Like we did not leave this man alone for months, and then finally got his comeuppance on all of us. Um, but later down the line, it was there was really no decision between any of us to start teaming. It was Renegade's idea.
Okay.
Renegade started RIPW, and he was telling us early on that, look, everyone in the top team is going to be in a position, but I want you guys to work with me in ways that you guys wouldn't necessarily do. For example, Keelan Cole and Danger team up in RPW. They had never teamed prior to this point at all. And Renegade just wanted to mix things around, see what worked, what didn't, and Renegade told us early on, and all the way back in February, that we were one of his like pet projects. That he wants to see us grow because he thinks we can grow into a very well-rounded tag team. And sure enough, like the chemistry was very much there when outside of the group setting of like, oh, he's a top team member and I'm a top team member and we're homies and but when we got to it on a one-on-one level, on a tag team level where we're like texting each other, not out like outside of the group chat all the time, talking about bookings with each other, talking about what we're gonna do, in our next matches and whatever. Like it's really furthered the relationship and connection with us. So we figured out now, like we might as well just run with this long term elsewhere. Like we're trying to take bookings as a tag team going forward. Um, but yeah, it really just started earlier this year, and it just so happened to click early on.
Right. And it looks like you guys are doing a lot of good work together. Is it something that you see long term? Like it could be you guys for years?
Absolutely. One of my earlier goals in wrestling, again, one of those, on the big checklist, the smaller checks. One of them was be a accomplished tag team wrestler. I love tag wrestling, so I grew up watching the Hardys. One of my first WrestleMania memories was on the ladder WWE DVD set,
Okay.
and it's the
I'm well immersed in that DVD set.
yeah, the WrestleMania 17 ladder match, the triple threat ladder match. Ever since then, I'm like, I need to find a tag partner. But with something I learned through wrestling is that is the one of those things that it will have to come to you. You can't look
Okay.
for it because it's a chemistry kind of thing.
It's one of those things the right person has to come through at the right time. You
Mm-hmm.
both need the same sort of goals.
Mm-hmm. When
Okay.
I first started with Troy Carter, we had visions of being a tag team together, but our careers just kind of took us in separate directions. We started getting booked as singles guys, started shining more as singles guys, and kind of just fizzled out. The idea never came about. But with Neji, like Neji said the same thing too. When I told him that, he was like, I've always wanted to be a part of a well-rounded tag team. And he even had the same ideas when I told him like, how hard is that to find though? To find that one partner that is like really good. And he was like, I thought of the same thing because you gotta have to
It's
let that come to you.
it's cool because like from talking to both of you, like he's a big Jeff Hardy guy, you're a big Jeff Hardy guy, you're around the same age, so you both understand wrestling in the same way. So
Mm-hmm.
like it's crazy because like it's almost like y'all are the same person without being the same person.
That's what we get all the time. Both of our girlfriends are best friends.
That's great.
Like, yeah, they love hanging out with each other. They talk about us all the time, saying like you guys are just the same person. Nathaniel Neji said that uh last week, whatever, and I'm like, well, what do you expect? We have the same brain. We're like two sides of the same brain.
That's great.
Hmm.
That's it's in for somebody in this business to be able to find a friend like that who you can also go and be successful with, and then and it just works so well both personally and professionally is great because
Hmm.
it could be hard in this business and in this world in
Yeah,
general trying to find somebody to mesh with that well.
right. And again, everything that's happened to me in wrestling is a blessing. I'm very fortunate to have these people. These are my people. I always say they're my people. These are my family. I'm a person that's very much tied to my ties and my loyalty to my ties. So those are my family. Neji, I know Neji's mom. I know Neji's brother, sister, all these people.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's great.
Well, not brother, not his sister, but three brothers.
Okay.
Yeah, the
That's
Neji, the Ichiban clan is a deep clan.
I love it. I just love hearing about it.
Hmm.
It's great because like I said, you used to just hear stories about how harsh this business is, but to get positive things like families coming together, friends coming together, people growing together is just it's
Right,
amazing.
right. And I think above any accomplishment I can get, these are the most important ones.
you got a friend for life. Whether no matter
Hmm.
what happens, you got a friend for life, a brother for life, and
Exactly.
it's great.
Hmm.
Um, I something else lately I've been talking to people about because it's in recent news and it's kind of big news. WWE has started the ID system.
Mm.
You talked
How'd I
about your
know?
goals.
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were
you
gonna say that.
you talked about your goals of being, WWE champion at WrestleMania.
Hmm.
Is that something that makes that for one more achievable and something like maybe that you want to try to strive, maybe one of those little check marks?
Absolutely. That's a big check mark, sir. That is a
Okay.
large check mark for sure. The WWE ID system, I've been having feelings about it since it's popped up. Um, I wouldn't say good or bad feelings. I'm a little
Skeptical.
passive, I would say. Passive.
Okay.
I'm
Passive
kind of
works.
just standing by and watching what happens with it. I feel like it's still very new. No one necessarily knows where it's going to be going. As far as I'm concerned, a lot of these guys and gals getting swooped up are, just kind of in a developmental program on the way to TV. But, I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if they're, for all I know, they could be putting them in a facility somewhere in Antarctica and they're just, turning them into machines down there and into super athletes or something like that. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm just more so concerned about how it can affect me in the most like least selfless way, just how it can, for one, how it can grow and how it can and in some way favor me, whether it's someone coming up to me one day, hey, I'm a scout with the WWE, we've been IDing you for a while, da da da. Or even if it's, for the top team, if one of us gets ID'd, that's fantastic. So I think the ID system is great for us on a personal, professional level. This business is to make money and to support your life and to support your family and to, have a livelihood. And if the ID system is going to allow people to do that, then I don't see anything wrong with that. It's just more so interesting to see what it's going to grow into because, like, how they were doing the NIL contracts.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
NIL contract system is like very streamlined, in my opinion. You're going to go to college. We're going to check you out. Get in here. You don't necessarily see them in a you don't see them in the same light as like an accomplished indie wrestler because they are a college athlete. They're not a wrestler, so you're not gonna have certain standards for them. But
Yeah.
to see certain guys from the indies that have years of experience over some of these guys with these NIL contracts, it's just going to be interesting to see how it all meshes together. I personally think it's a great idea because you're taking guys and gals that are experienced and meshing them with those NIL contract people that are coming in and giving them not only a firsthand experience of like, oh, here's the WWE, but now here's the WWE and here's all of this indie knowledge. Let's say
Yeah.
you really do love wrestling and it doesn't work out for you here at the E. We want you to have people and connections to talk to work these indies if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So I think it's really dope. It really meshes the two worlds together.
I like it. And I've thought of it in a lot of ways, especially doing these. I gotta be able to, think about it. So like I've never thought of it in that way, mixing the two worlds together. And like you said, you never know. Like if it doesn't work out in WWE, maybe, you know, just as an example, like Gable Steveson didn't work in WWE, but like if
Exactly.
he goes to the Indies and makes it work there, he could always come back.
Exactly. And
So like it's
on
interesting to see it that way.
it gives people, I think, a leg up in the department of what they're gonna get into. Because you often see a lot of wrestlers or not a lot of wrestlers, but in recent time, a lot of these college athletes becoming wrestlers. And some of them are fans coming in. Some of them quite literally don't watch wrestling and
They
haven't
have
watched
no
wrestling
clue.
till this point. And with that, wrestling is niche as it is. Now imagine how niche indie wrestling is.
It's
So
a whole different
it
ball game.
exactly, and you bring in some of these athletes, and they start early on, and they're performing in front of 1,000 people in the PC and doing live events and doing live tapings and having a PC to work out in and all that. And then if things end up going south and they have to rely now on the indies, they don't know what they're doing. So it's up to somebody to teach them. And if the WWE is going to have that route to be like, okay, we don't know the future. We don't know if this is going to work out with you, but we're giving you everything you can possibly need. Every connection, every person, over probably 100 years in tenure with just the few people they've gotten on that ID program already.
Yeah,
Like, you can't beat that. That's giving you firsthand indie experience with some of the top guys in the indies. Like, that's great. That's perfect.
100%. Um, uh, Before we get to the end of this, it's been a great conversation so far. But I always like last official question. I'd say it's always
Hmm.
the same. Um, if you had to pick four guys to put on a Mount Rushmore,
Oh,
and why?
dang. I feel like for me personally, everything is attributed to how much person has done and like general impact on the business as a whole. On my Mount Rushmore, I have the first one, Eddie Guerrero, because that's Darko's number one. That's my all-time favorite wrestler. That's the one that I watch as a kid and was captivated by, and with the context of wrestling now watch and are even more
I love
captivated
him.
by. Second one, AJ Styles, because I consider him the Kobe of our generation of wrestling. He's never been bad. You can't ever tell me a moment in time where he was bad. He's held
Great
every
analogy.
title everywhere, like even I say now in AJ's career at the age he's at, he's in like his Kobe era where he's like he's up there, but he's still rocking out like Kobe was towards the end of his career. And after those two, that's where it gets a little tricky because it's like not many spots to fill. Can I put the Hardys as one?
How do you want to do a tag team Mount Rushmore after this?
Yeah, I'll do that. That's a lot
Okay,
easier for me. We'll
I
put
got you.
three. Three will be, oh man, you know what? Three is AR Fox, in my personal opinion. Anyone can have anything to say about that. But from first-hand knowledge and 4 consecutive years of first-hand knowledge, there is not a harder worker in a room I've ever seen. This man is
Underground King.
constantly underground king for real. Like the godfather of the modern day move set. That's what he is.
100%.
And then last but not least, mm, I want to go with Bray Wyatt
Okay. I love it
because
actually.
because
I haven't heard it
Bray
yet, and that's I've been waiting on it.
Bray inspired what I feel a lot of wrestling needed for a long time. There was not an act like Bray since Taker, since Kane, since Mankind, not one that hit that hard.
No.
Not
And
one that
fast.
really, yeah, like, and really picked up steam like the way he did. And one point that I always make to a lot of people when I'm giving advice to a lot of the earlier wrestlers or a lot of the newer wrestlers and they're early in their career and I'm telling them like, look, a lot of things don't make sense now, but they will make a lot of sense later.
Great.
Sometimes what you do in the ring is not the most important thing. Bray Wyatt is a perfect example. Everyone loves Bray Wyatt. Everyone thought Bray Wyatt was the coolest. I could name you probably 3 moves he did, maybe 5.
Maybe.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
And that is a testament to how good of a character he was, how good at immersing he was, how good at on all sides he was. R.I.P. Bray, the greatest.
I I've never heard it yet, and it's something I thought, especially maybe with recency, that I'd expected to have sooner. So I'm glad you brought Bray up because Bray, I
Needed to.
think, is much needed, and storytelling alone is probably one of the most underrated human beings of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Not just wrestlers. He's the mind is something I wish
He
I
was something. He was something that has not been in wrestling in easily two
maybe
decades.
ever really, if you want to be honest, because the
If you
amount
really
of
want to be honest, the depth of it all,
ever.
like the depth of it all, no wrestler has really reached that far. No
No.
wrestler can go from cult leader to the leader of worlds with Matt Hardy to
Yes.
a
And make it all
sociopath
make sense
and
is
make it all make
crazy.
sense.
Like I
Exactly.
and he hints about it like they say for years from the beginning. He hints about
And the
the man in
beauty
the
of it all is
woods,
it still
and
goes. It's
it's
still going with Uncle
yes,
Howdy and Bo. Like it's still going. I love to see it all still happening. And that just shows how deep of a lore in a universe he created for someone else to literally pick up where he left. That he left enough for someone to be able to do that. So
see
yeah,
it
Bray
makes
easy.
it makes me wonder, like, did Bray leave a notebook around with his ideas,
Had
just
to. Had
waiting?
to.
Because like it's so good, man. I'd love to read
Someone
it.
had to know. Someone had to know about these ideas like Triple H, someone close to Bray,
Somebody,
someone, like someone had to know,
Bo.
like, this is what Bray, yeah, Bo probably most likely late night outside conversations in the car
Yeah.
type deal. Like, this is what I want to do right now. And
Hey,
Bo
baby
hearing that
brother,
and being
this is
like,
what I want to do.
yeah, just chatting. No real notion to it. And then for all of it to play out in reality.
It's one of those. Maybe one day when I'm doing a podcast in heaven, I'll get to talk to Bray about it. I can't wait because
Yeah,
that's just a
absolutely, man.
mind I'd love to pick.
Yeah, facts.
Um, moving on though, let's go to that tag team Mount Rushmore.
Tag Mount Rushmore. I love tag team wrestling so much. First one off the list, Hardy. Get that through. Bang, done. Second
As
one,
a Hardy kid, I loved them, so I can't
I
argue.
loved them. You can never not like anyone that hates the Hardys hates themselves. They got a
But I
personal
jumped
problem.
off way too many ladders because of Jeff Hardy. I'm just gonna put
The
that out
reason why I was
there.
jumping off ladders. Um, Second one, the machine guns. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely got to put them in
Uh,
there.
they just revolutionized the whole thing of tag team wrestling, like
They
fast
are
paced tag
modern
team
wrestling.
wrestling. Absolutely. Uh, Three. Mm, uh, okay. Three, this is a real personal one. Shout out the SATs. The SATs were one of the first tag teams that I really saw on the indies, like very early on. The Maximo brothers,
Okay.
they were they're just again the same way Fox is the innovator of the modern move set, they're the innovators of the modern tag move set. The Spanish Fly, that's their thing.
Okay.
Um, and
I'll have to
then
do my
last but
homework.
oh yeah, look into them.
I'll have to do my homework.
Amazing Red was usually their third.
Okay. Okay.
But the Maximo brothers, Joel and Jose Maximo, great. Um, and then finally, who would be the last one? Ooh, FTR,
Okay.
goats. I have no notes,
I
no
don't
notes
think
on
there's
them.
been a bad FTR match.
Exactly, precisely. Write it in bold. There
I
has
don't
been
think there's
not.
ever been one bad FTR match. Even with Uzi Hot, there's no bad FTR
No, not at all. They
match.
in ring, unmatched. On the mic, so good. Intensity there.
I love
Small details
Dax's
accounted
promos
for.
are impeccable.
Mm-hmm.
Dax on the mic is
Small
crazy.
details accounted for. Matches perfect. You can't like they're the best. And then right up nah man. See, The Briscoes have a
I was
place
about
in
to
my
say,
heart
shout
too.
out Briscoes.
Yeah, they're the honorable. And I only say honorable because they're not a team anymore. But if they were teaming right now, they would probably be like number two on the list. I love the Briscoes.
You know, Jay is somebody for so long that I thought was so underappreciated. It's like,
Right.
I mean, as a fan, my finisher was always the Jay Driller. And like, I don't care what you say, that's his move. That's what it's called. Like
Hmm.
Cody said it too, but Jay
Nah, it is.
Briscoe is maybe one of the most unrecognized, underrated professional wrestlers of all time. I
Yeah.
don't, I don't care what anybody says. And
No,
Mark's
I
great
agree.
still.
I agree 100%. I think Jay Briscoe, if you look back, obviously hindsight, we obviously don't have him anymore, and it really sucks that we don't because if you his passing as it kind of always sucks that it's like this is why we always say give them their flowers while they're alive, not before they're dead,
Yes, 100%.
or not after they're dead, because he is someone that after he passed, even myself, like I was very rich in. I was a Ring of Honor kid. I was watching Ring of Honor when I was 13, and I was hip to the Briscoes, but I would always like regard them as, oh, they're just the Briscoes. They're rough, tough,
Yes.
nasty. They're great. They're a great tag team. And then when Jay broke off and Jay really started to come into his own, and then even the story in Ring of Honor with Mark and Jay, and Mark finally getting his time, and all of it to culminate now with Mark coming full circle, Mark getting his opportunity in the main event scene now, Mark winning the Ring of Honor title. Like even after his passing, the story of Mark's journey that Jay was involved in was still going. So Briscoes are an honorable mention there as well. FTR really are 4A and 4B with
Gotcha.
the Briscoes.
So with these two lists, we'll leave rest in peace Bray and rest in peace Jay.
Yeah.
Um, till next time.
Till next
Um,
time, brother.
before we go, I ask one more question, and it's
Mm-hmm.
more of a if you'd like to leave us with something, do you got any advice for anybody trying to be a wrestler?
Just send it, man. Just full send. Hashtag full send. Get
Jump
out of the
right in.
fear. Yeah, just get out of that fear state. Get out of that. It's always going to be there. Things are going to be scary. New things are going to be scary to do. That's why they're new things. That's why they're scary because you've never done them before. So just do it. Spend the money, work up the money, spend up the money, and just go upon the journey. Find out if it's at least for you. Because the one thing I'm not trying to leave my life here with personally is regrets. I'm not trying to have any regrets when I go. So yeah, that's it. Just don't be scared. Go for it. And that's all I can really say on my end.
Got you. Dante, thank you once again, 100%. Appreciate it. Um, I will leave the door open if you ever want to come back on here. I'm sure we could chat about a ton more things.
Oh yeah, I feel yeah, you're cool, Justin. You're a homie.
I respect it, man. Thank you so much. I'll leave the door open. We'll be back on here again.
Yeah.
Maybe we get both you and Neji on here.
Yeah, that would be. Hold on,
That'd be fun.
AirPod died.
You're good.
No, yeah, definitely. Definitely we'll get Neji on here next time. That'd be cool. A little joint team one.
I've never done a team one. I've been trying to get a couple guys to do it. Maybe you and Neji can be the first.
I would love to.
All right. I'll talk to you later then, man.
All right, boss. Take it easy, man.
You too.